The financial pressure you feel is the quantum breakpoint. Why does the pressure feel unbearable right now when you've handled tough situations before? In the next few minutes, you're going to discover why the financial pressure you're experiencing isn't what you think it is. You'll learn that this intense discomfort is actually a quantum breakpoint, the exact moment before everything transforms, and why the worst pressure you've ever felt might be the greatest gift you've ever received. Stay with me, because what you're about to understand will completely change how you experience this moment and every financial challenge that follows. Let me tell you something that will shift everything. The pressure you're feeling right now, the weight on your chest when you think about money, the anxiety that wakes you up at 3 in the morning, the stress that follows you through every hour of your day. This isn't a sign that you're failing. It's not evidence that you made wrong choices or that you're not good enough. That pressure is the universe's way of telling you that you've reached a quantum breakpoint and everything in your financial reality is about to change. Most people misinterpret this pressure completely. They think it means they need to work harder, hustle more, sacrifice more of themselves to break through. They believe the pressure is punishment for something they did wrong or didn't do right. They see it as evidence that prosperity isn't meant for them, that they're destined to struggle, that financial freedom is a dream for other people but not for them. Every single one of these interpretations is wrong, and believing them will keep you trapped in the exact pattern you're trying to escape. The truth is that financial pressure is how the universe signals transformation. Think about how diamonds are formed. Carbon, the most common element, gets subjected to intense pressure and heat deep within the earth. That pressure doesn't destroy the carbon. It transforms it into something infinitely more valuable. The pressure is not the problem. The pressure is the process. Without it, there would be no diamond. Without the financial pressure you're feeling right now, there would be no breakthrough into the prosperity that's waiting for you. But here's what makes this moment so critical. You're standing at a quantum breakpoint, which means you're at the precise intersection between two completely different realities. In one direction lies the continuation of your old financial patterns, the same cycles of stress and struggle you've been experiencing, perhaps with slight variations, but fundamentally unchanged. In the other direction lies a complete transformation of your financial reality, a quantum leap into a level of prosperity you've barely allowed yourself to imagine. The pressure you're feeling is the energy required to collapse the wave function, to shift from potential into actuality, to move from where you've been to where you're meant to be. The intensity of the pressure tells you how significant the transformation will be. Small changes require small pressure. Quantum leaps require quantum pressure. If you're feeling more financial pressure right now than you've ever felt before, it's because you're on the verge of a bigger breakthrough than you've ever experienced. The universe doesn't apply unnecessary force. It applies exactly the amount of pressure needed to catalyze the transformation you're ready for. This is where most people make the fatal mistake. When the pressure intensifies, they panic and try to release it by returning to their old patterns. They take a job they don't want because it feels safe. They abandon the business they were building because it feels too risky. They shrink their dreams to match their current circumstances because it feels realistic. They convince themselves that they were being foolish to want more, that they should be grateful for what they have, that stability is more important than fulfillment. And in that moment of retreat, they miss the breakthrough that was waiting just on the other side of the pressure. Imagine a woman in labor deciding that the contractions are too painful and choosing to stop the birth process. That's not how it works. Once you've reached the stage where the pressure is intense, you're already in the transformation. The only way out is through. Trying to go back doesn't release the pressure. It just prolongs it. The baby is coming whether the woman is ready or not. The breakthrough is happening whether you consciously cooperate with it or not. The only question is whether you'll move through it with awareness and intention, or whether you'll resist it and make it harder than it needs to be. Let me reveal something that will help you understand what's really happening. Your current financial reality exists at a certain vibrational frequency. Your desired financial reality exists at a higher frequency. Moving between these frequencies isn't a smooth, gradual climb. It's a quantum jump, which means there's a gap, a void, a moment where you're neither here nor there. That gap is where the pressure lives. You're being squeezed out of your old reality, but you haven't yet landed in your new one. You're in the chrysalis, in the liminal space, in the dark night of the soul where everything familiar is dissolving and nothing new has solidified yet. This is the most uncomfortable place to be because your nervous system is designed to seek certainty. It wants to know that you're safe, that your survival is secure, that you can predict what's coming. In the quantum breakpoint, none of these reassurances are available. You don't know if this is going to work out. You can't see the path forward clearly. You have no guarantee that things will get better. Every cell in your body is screaming at you to retreat to what's known, even if what's known has been painful and limiting. This is the test. This is where your commitment to transformation is measured. The financial pressure you're experiencing has multiple layers, and understanding these layers will help you navigate this moment with more grace. The first layer is practical. You might have bills you're not sure how to pay, debt that feels overwhelming, income that's insufficient for your needs, or unexpected expenses that arrived at the worst possible time. These are real, concrete challenges, and they require practical solutions. But if you address only this layer, you'll miss the deeper transformation that's trying to happen. The second layer is emotional. The practical pressure triggers fear, anxiety, shame, anger, and despair. These emotions feel unbearable, and most people do anything they can to avoid feeling them. They distract themselves with work, entertainment, substances, or relationships. They spiritually bypass by telling themselves they just need to think more positively. They numb out because the feelings are too intense. But these emotions are not the enemy. They're the energy that's been trapped in your system, keeping you locked in your old financial patterns. The pressure is bringing them to the surface so they can finally be released. The third layer is identity. The financial pressure is forcing you to confront who you've believed yourself to be in relationship to money. Are you someone who struggles? Are you someone who never has enough? Are you someone who has to sacrifice what you want for what's practical? Are you someone who can't trust yourself with money? These identity beliefs have been running your financial life from the unconscious level, and the pressure is making them conscious so you can choose whether to keep them or release them. This is the most important layer because your identity determines your reality. The fourth layer is spiritual. At the deepest level, the financial pressure is inviting you to examine your relationship with the universe itself. Do you trust that you're supported? Do you believe that abundance is your natural state? Do you see challenges as evidence that you're being punished or as opportunities for growth? Do you experience yourself as separate from Source or as an expression of Source? The answers to these questions determine not just your financial reality, but your entire experience of life. Now, here's what's even more profound, and this is what transforms pressure from something to endure into something to embrace. The pressure isn't coming from your circumstances. The pressure is coming from the gap between who you've been and who you're becoming. Your old identity is dying, and death is never comfortable. Your old patterns are being destroyed, and destruction feels chaotic. Your old beliefs are being shattered, and shattering is violent. But none of this is happening to you. It's happening for you. Think about what happens when you outgrow your clothes. At first, they're just a little tight. You can still wear them, but they're not comfortable anymore. If you keep wearing them, they get tighter and tighter until they're restricting your movement, cutting off your circulation, making it painful to breathe. The discomfort isn't coming from something external. It's coming from the fact that you've grown and the clothes no longer fit. The solution isn't to try to shrink yourself back down to fit the clothes. The solution is to take them off and get new ones. Your old financial identity is like those clothes. You've outgrown it. Your consciousness has expanded beyond what that identity can contain. The pressure you're feeling is your expanded self pressing against the limitations of your old beliefs, your old patterns, your old sense of what's possible. The tighter it gets, the more urgent the message becomes. You can't stay here anymore. You've grown too large for this container. It's time to break free. But here's what makes this so challenging. When you're in the middle of the pressure, when you're in the gap between identities, you don't feel like you're growing. You feel like you're falling apart. You look at your life and see evidence of failure rather than evidence of transformation. Your bank account looks the same or worse. Your debt hasn't disappeared. Your income hasn't magically increased. The practical circumstances haven't shifted yet, and your mind uses this as proof that nothing is changing, that you're fooling yourself, that you should give up and accept your limitations. This is the critical moment where you must learn to see with different eyes. The external circumstances are always the last thing to change because they're the densest form of energy. Before your bank account changes, your vibration must change. Before your vibration changes, your beliefs must change. Before your beliefs change, your awareness must change. The transformation happens from the inside out, from the subtle to the gross, from the invisible to the visible. The pressure you're feeling is happening at the invisible level, in your consciousness, in your energy field, in your identity structure. The visible results will follow, but only if you don't abort the process by returning to your old patterns. Let me give you a framework for working with this pressure that will transform how you experience it. First, you must stop resisting it. What you resist persists. When you fight against the pressure, trying to make it go away, trying to fix it, trying to escape it, you amplify it. The pressure isn't your enemy. It's your teacher, your catalyst, your midwife. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to birth you into a new version of yourself. The first step is to acknowledge what's happening without judgment. I'm feeling intense financial pressure right now. I'm in a quantum breakpoint. This is part of my transformation. Second, you must breathe into it. When pressure comes, your natural response is to tighten, to contract, to brace yourself against it. This makes everything harder. Instead, take deep breaths and consciously relax your body. Soften your shoulders, unclench your jaw, release your belly. Create space in your body for the pressure to move through. Pressure is just energy, and energy needs space to flow. When you contract, you trap the energy and intensify the discomfort. When you expand, you allow the energy to circulate and eventually dissipate. Third, you must feel the emotions without attaching stories to them. When fear arises, you don't need to believe the thoughts that come with it. You can simply feel the sensation of fear in your body without making it mean anything about your future. When anxiety comes, you can notice where you feel it, how it moves, what it's like to simply be with it, rather than trying to think your way out of it. When shame surfaces, you can acknowledge it as an old pattern releasing, rather than as truth about who you are. The emotions are not problems to solve. They're energy to metabolize. Fourth, you must consciously choose your new identity. In the middle of the pressure, you have a choice. You can identify with the old self that's dying, or with the new self that's being born. You can tell yourself, I'm someone who always struggles with money. Or you can tell yourself, I'm someone who is learning to receive abundance with ease. Both statements might feel true in the moment, but one keeps you locked in the old pattern, and one opens the door to the new possibility. Choose the identity that aligns with where you're going, not where you've been. Fifth, you must take aligned action even when you can't see the full path. The pressure is inviting you to move, to do something different, to break out of the paralysis that comes from not knowing exactly how things will work out. This doesn't mean taking desperate action or forcing things to happen. It means listening to your intuition, following the next step that lights up for you, doing the thing that feels alive even if it doesn't seem logical. Aligned action in the face of pressure is what collapses the wave function and brings the new reality into form. Now, let me tell you what happens when you work with the pressure instead of against it. Something shifts in your energy field. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and become a conscious participant in your transformation. You stop waiting for the pressure to release before you can feel okay and start feeling okay, even in the middle of the pressure. You stop needing everything to be figured out before you can take action and start moving forward with trust. And as you make these shifts, the pressure begins to serve you rather than crushing you. You start to notice that in the moments of greatest pressure, you're accessing wisdom you didn't know you had. You're making connections you wouldn't have made otherwise. You're discovering strengths you'd forgotten. You're being forced to let go of control and learn to trust, which is the very thing you needed to learn to allow abundance to flow. The pressure is sculpting you into someone who can hold the level of prosperity you've been asking for. Because here's the truth that most people never realize. You can't experience a level of wealth that's beyond what your nervous system can handle. If you suddenly received all the money you've been asking for but you hadn't done the internal work to expand your capacity, you'd unconsciously sabotage it. You'd make bad decisions, attract problems, or simply feel so uncomfortable with that level of abundance that you'd find ways to return to what's familiar. The pressure you're experiencing right now is expanding your capacity. It's teaching you to stay centered when things are uncertain. It's training you to trust when you can't see the path. It's building the internal muscles you need to maintain and grow the wealth that's coming. Think about athletes who are training for peak performance. They don't get stronger by staying comfortable. They get stronger by pushing themselves to the point of muscle failure, where the tissue actually tears slightly, and then allowing it to repair and rebuild stronger than before. The breakdown is essential to the breakthrough. The pressure is essential to the growth. If you're feeling financial pressure right now that's more intense than you've experienced before, it's because you're being prepared for a level of abundance that's beyond anything you've experienced before. But you have to stay in the process. You have to resist the temptation to retreat. You have to keep choosing the new identity even when your circumstances haven't caught up yet. You have to continue taking aligned action even when you don't see immediate results. You have to maintain your vision of the financial reality you're creating even when everything around you is screaming that it's impossible. This is what separates those who break through from those who stay stuck. The quantum breakpoint is not a comfortable place, but it's a powerful place. You're standing at the edge of two realities, and you get to choose which one you'll step into. The pressure is the universe asking, how serious are you about this transformation? Are you willing to feel uncomfortable for a while to create something new? Can you trust the process even when you can't see the outcome? Your answers to these questions, demonstrated through your choices and actions, determine what happens next. Let me tell you what's waiting on the other side of this pressure. When you move through the quantum breakpoint instead of retreating from it, something fundamental shifts in your relationship with money and with life. You stop experiencing financial challenges as threats to your survival and start experiencing them as invitations to grow. You stop needing certainty before you can feel safe and start feeling safe because you trust yourself to handle whatever comes. You stop looking outside yourself for validation that you're on the right path and start trusting your inner knowing even when no one else understands. Your relationship with money becomes lighter, easier, more playful. Money starts flowing to you in unexpected ways because you're no longer blocking it with fear and resistance. Opportunities appear that you couldn't have predicted or planned for because you're finally vibrationally aligned to receive them. People show up to support you because you're emanating a frequency that attracts support. Resources become available because you've expanded your capacity to hold them. All of this happens not because you worked harder or sacrificed more, but because you allowed the pressure to transform you instead of trying to escape it. You also develop a completely different relationship with discomfort. You realize that discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong, but a sign that something is changing. You stop trying to control everything and start allowing life to guide you. You release the exhausting effort of trying to force outcomes and instead learn to align with what wants to emerge. You discover that there's a wisdom in the universe that far exceeds your limited understanding. And when you surrender to that wisdom, things work out better than you could have planned. This doesn't mean you become passive or stop taking action. It means your action comes from a different place. Instead of acting from fear, desperation, and control, you act from trust, inspiration, and flow. Instead of pushing and forcing, you allow and receive. Instead of trying to make things happen, you become a channel through which things happen. This shift is subtle but profound, and it changes everything about how you experience your financial life. The pressure you're feeling right now is teaching you all of this. It's showing you where you're still trying to control instead of trust. It's revealing where you're still identifying with scarcity instead of abundance. It's highlighting where you're still letting fear make your decisions instead of following your inner guidance. Every moment of discomfort is an opportunity to practice choosing differently. Every wave of anxiety is a chance to breathe and center yourself. Every thought of doubt is an invitation to reconnect with your vision. You are not being broken by this pressure. You are being broken open. There's a difference. Being broken means you're destroyed, diminished, defeated. Being broken open means that something that was closed is now opening. Something that was hidden is now visible. Something that was trapped is now being released. The shell that's been containing you is cracking, and yes, that's uncomfortable, but it's necessary for you to emerge into the fullness of who you're becoming. Think about a seed that's planted in the ground. It's dark, it's cold, it's compressed by the weight of the soil above it. If the seed could speak, it might say it's experiencing pressure. But that pressure is not the enemy. That pressure is what triggers the seed to split open and begin growing. Without the pressure of the soil, without the darkness, without the apparent confinement, the seed would never become the plant it's meant to be. The pressure is not preventing your growth. The pressure is causing your growth. Right now, you are that seed. The financial pressure you're experiencing is the soil pressing down on you, creating the exact conditions you need to break open and begin your expansion. Every bill that arrives, every challenge you face, every moment of not knowing how you're going to make it through, is adding to the pressure that will eventually cause you to break free from the shell of your old identity and grow into the magnificence of your new one. But here's what the seed doesn't do. It doesn't resist the pressure. It doesn't complain about the darkness. It doesn't try to return to being just a seed because being a growing plant feels too vulnerable. It surrenders to the process. It trusts the intelligence that's coded into its very nature. It allows the transformation to happen through it. And this is what you're being called to do as well. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean becoming passive or resigned. It means releasing your grip on how you think things should happen and allowing them to unfold in the way they need to happen. It means trusting that the pressure you're feeling is perfectly calibrated to catalyze your transformation. It means believing that you're being guided even when you can't see the guide. It means knowing that this moment, as uncomfortable as it is exactly what you need to get to where you want to be. The financial pressure is not happening to you. It's happening for you. It's not evidence that you're on the wrong path. It's confirmation that you're on the right one. It's not a sign that you should quit. It's a message that you're close to breakthrough. It's not punishment for past mistakes. It's preparation for future abundance. Every ounce of pressure you're feeling right now is in service of your transformation. And when you understand this, when you really get this, everything changes. You stop fighting the pressure and start working with it. You stop seeing it as the enemy and start recognizing it as the teacher. You stop wishing it would go away and start asking what it's here to show you. You stop trying to escape the discomfort and start mining it for the wisdom it contains. And as you make this shift, the pressure begins to feel different. It's still intense, but it's no longer crushing. It's still challenging, but it's no longer overwhelming. It's still uncomfortable, but it's no longer unbearable, because you've changed your relationship with it. You're no longer a victim of the pressure. You're a student of it. You're no longer trying to survive it. You're allowing it to transform you. You're no longer waiting for it to end before you can live. You're living fully even in the middle of it. And this shift in how you relate to the pressure is what allows you to move through the quantum breakpoint and into the new reality that's waiting for you. So let me bring this all together, because this is the moment where everything we've talked about becomes practical and actionable. You're feeling financial pressure right now, perhaps more than you've ever felt before. You now understand that this pressure is not a problem to fix, but a process to move through. You recognize that you're at a quantum breakpoint, where your old financial reality is dissolving and your new one is preparing to emerge. You know that the intensity of the pressure corresponds to the magnitude of the transformation that's available to you. What do you do with this understanding? You start right now, in this moment, by taking a deep breath and acknowledging where you are. Say to yourself, I am in a quantum breakpoint. The pressure I'm feeling is the transformation happening. I am safe even in the middle of uncertainty. I trust the process even when I can't see the path. These aren't just affirmations. They're truth statements that help you align with what's really happening instead of getting caught in the fear story your mind wants to tell. Next, you commit to staying in the process instead of retreating from it. This means you don't make decisions based on fear. You don't take actions designed to relieve the pressure by returning to old patterns. You don't abandon your vision just because the manifestation hasn't appeared yet. You hold steady in your knowing that the breakthrough is coming, even when everything around you suggests otherwise. This is your commitment to yourself and to your transformation. Then, you start working consciously with the layers of pressure we talked about. On the practical level, you take care of what needs to be taken care of, but you do it from a centered place rather than a panicked place. On the emotional level, you feel your feelings without making them mean something about your future. On the identity level, you consciously choose to identify with your emerging self rather than your dying self. On the spiritual level, you deepen your trust in the universe and your connection to the source of all abundance. And finally, you watch for the signs that the shift is happening. You notice the synchronicities, the unexpected helps, the new ideas that arise, the opportunities that appear. You pay attention to the moments when you respond differently than you would have before. You celebrate the small wins, the subtle shifts, the incremental changes that indicate the transformation is underway. You don't wait for the dramatic breakthrough to acknowledge your progress. You honor each step of the journey. The pressure you're feeling right now is the quantum breakpoint. It's the moment of greatest potential, the point where everything can change. You've grown too large for your old financial identity, and the universe is applying exactly the amount of pressure needed to help you break free. This is not comfortable, but it is powerful. This is not easy, but it is necessary. This is not what you would have chosen, but it is exactly what you need. The shift is happening right now, in this moment, as you read these words, and something in you recognizes the truth of what's being said. The old identity is already cracking. The new reality is already forming. The transformation you've been asking for is already underway. Your only job is to stop resisting it, stop trying to control it, and start allowing it to happen through you. The pressure is not your enemy. The pressure is the shift. Welcome it. Trust it. Let it transform you into someone who can receive and maintain the abundance that's already on its way to you. This is your quantum breakpoint. This is your moment. This is where everything changes. The pressure you feel is not a sign that something is wrong. It's the unmistakable signal that everything is about to become right.